Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior and accomplished professional and entrepreneur, Mr. Pradeep N. Lala. Pradeep, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Ashu, for having me over.
Thank you. Pradeep is the Managing Director and CEO of Embassy Services Private Limited, which is a part of the Embassy Group, one of the largest realtors in India. He's also the founder of the Horizon Group, which is the distribution partner of Ingersoll Rand. So Pradeep, today let's talk about Embassy Services. Tell me a little bit about the work you handle in this company.
So I'll give you a bit of a background of what Embassy Services is. First of all, because it started off more than 25 years back.
Right.
Our chairman, who's Jitu Virvani, he had the vision that all the properties that he will develop will be products of good quality, and he wanted to sustain them for a longer time than an average lifespan of a regular property in the world. So with that in mind, he started this small organization called Embassy Services, wherein he said that this organization would sustain and maintain the property services of all the quality buildings which he and the organization would develop. And that's how we got into it. And I happened to join this organization in 2013. And the journey has been great. And we do all the property services, the hard services, technical, soft services, security, landscape, a lot of it, to be honest with you, now with today's times, bundled with a strong technology platform. On a personal basis, I'd love to say that I'm the security guard of the building as well as the CEO.
Okay.
But at this point of time, yes, I have the fortune of leading and steering this organization. And my current focus is on growing the organization to a level beyond imagination, and we are doing well over there. But also a lot of focus is investing in the youth and mentoring young talent, nurturing them and making them leaders for the future.
Fantastic. So I'm assuming that when you say you have services, it's for both residential and commercial.
Absolutely. In fact, we are in every genre of the real estate industry, whether it's residential, commercial office, commercial strata buildings. We even do airports for, at the moment, education institutes, large education campuses, hospitality, healthcare, everything.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So, let's first talk about residential. The whole country now has a boom of condominiums.
True.
And there is a huge demand of managing the real estate services. And there are a lot of players coming in to manage all these condominiums. How is Embassy differentiating itself?
Embassy Group as a developer has been in the residential business for, again, over 25 years. And we are known for our ultra luxury properties. And we are predominantly doing residential in Bangalore.
Okay.
We have some development in Chennai, and more so now that we are in the process of concluding the merger of the Indiabulls real estate company, which is spread out in Gurgaon in the north and Mumbai in the west. So we'll also have a large footprint in those two regions in the residential. So coming back to the product that Embassy Group develops, which is of high quality and absolutely exclusive, our job as Embassy Services is actually to be the differentiator between any other real estate developer and ensure that what product we deliver to the investor or the final user is maintained to its level of high quality till perpetuity.
Wonderful.
So with that in mind, residential is quite a sensitive business in terms of services, because every homeowner and every person living in the apartment or a villa is your client, whether it could be a young kid from the age of 5 to a senior gentleman at the age of 65, 75. So it's sensitive. We've got to take care of needs, and we successfully managed that with a great team. We have various services, like we provide a very niche service called Waze, which is world at your service. And in that, what we do is basically we have in-house cleaning, time and motion studied packages, customized. So if there is a person, if there is an expat, because we have a lot of them, in case they are there and they don't need to, have live-in servants or maids, we provide cleaning services, maintenance services over a period of an hour a week, or on a larger time, maybe a few days in a week, and then sequence that so that it's not intruding into a privacy, but at the same time providing the level of quality and hygiene at the home. There are a lot of other things we do, but I mean, there's a limit I can talk about.
No, I agree with you. But a follow-up question, Pradeep, would be: what are some of the challenges you face in this business? One, of course, you mentioned you are serving the needs of a lot of people, whoever's living there, where I'm sure everybody seems to know how to manage your business better than you do.
I agree with that.
But what are some of your challenges?
So I'm so sorry. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't like to use the word challenges. The reason being, I keep telling my team and everyone that if there aren't any challenges, then we wouldn't be needed. So I would say every business has its different roadmaps to achieve success. So let's put it that way. In our case, it's highly manpower intensified. So we need to have the right manpower on board, whether it's the gender bias of ladies and men at the right mix. At the same time, the age is a big factor because the youngsters don't really want to get into such kind of jobs. So we have to motivate them with training and development, learning. And at the same time, also, it's important that the various regions which we go into, various geographies, systematic background verification of the individuals is done. Then comes the attrition. There is a continuous churn because, this is probably, in my opinion, for the blue-collar workforce, this is not the best kind of career path or the first choice of career path they would want to take. Besides that, we have to keep strict checks on compliances and statutories. At the same time, we're always competing with, I would say, the unorganized sector, who are cutting corners in costs, and we just have to overcome and keep educating the users about the cost and trying to be compliant. At the same time, there is, over the last few years, there's been a clear shift of this business being driven more by technology and also more by machinery rather than man. So from that perspective, that challenge keeps coming, that when we are trying to reduce the manpower, there is a bit of a resistance. But I guess any change happens with time and we'll succeed in that. And I can very clearly see that technology will definitely drive this entire business more from analytics and predictive maintenance. And we'll have a lot of efficiencies improving. That will eventually bring down costs and motivate more people to go into the organized sector.
Very interesting. So I'm glad you spoke a little bit about technology, because that was going to be my next question. How is technology changing the way you are able to improve and provide services from Embassy?
So, well, everybody has the regular set of technology tools like visitor management, or I would say, feedback tools, and, these space management tools of booking a desk for a particular day. I mean, these are things I won't really talk about because they are user experience based, and they are basic tools which are available and you can pick them up from the market and just use them. But we, because two reasons. One is we have two main verticals in our business. One is our business of servicing the products which Embassy Group develops, and the other is servicing the products from the open market clients, which are a huge list of them. Now, when we are doing the assets, when I talk about the assets across all these campuses or across all these residential communities or whatever, whether it's a retail mall or a healthcare office or a hospital or whatever. So the assets that we manage, those we are actually using a lot of technology tools to, understand the way they behave over a period of time. And we use analytics to ultimately get down from a preventive mode of maintenance to a predictive mode. So this gives us a great check on business continuity to ensure that all these products are efficiently working seamlessly. At the same time, the costs come down because we use the consumables and the parts at the right time. They need to be changed. So all these factors put together, I think technology is again bringing in more efficiency, more seamless business operations, and at the same time cost reduction over a period of time.
Interesting. And is the opportunity or the challenge to manage commercial real estate similar to that in residential real estate?
So, like I said, residential is sensitive. A home is something which is dear to everybody's heart, to you and me also.
Correct.
So every individual who's having the experience of using the apartment or the villa is always a client to you. So if you have, let's say, a community of about 500 apartments or maybe 200, 300 villas in a gated community, you can straight away multiply that by 4 and you have that many number of clients. So each one at each age group or at each level has their own expectations and requirements. Coming to commercial real estate, I would say that's a great business for us because it's more structured. You have these large corporates which work out of IT campuses, whether it's in Bangalore, in Noida, Gurgaon, Mumbai. So it's more structured. You have a team of facility managers who are representing the organization, and they are managing the checks and balances and taking the reports out of us who are the service providers. And the parameters are set, the SLAs are set, the expectations are set, and there's always an improvement with time. So I would say it's more structured. I won't say it's easier. Both segments have different expectations, but we always endeavor to deliver those expectations and achieve success and smiling faces.
Well said. And I guess the other area where you must be facing some, I know you don't like the word challenge, but some.
No, I didn't say I don't like the word challenge.
Okay.
I just say that I try to use something different all the time.
Fair enough. But my question to you was that when we are looking at residential guests, you got, as you say very rightly, multiple individuals within one home. And in commercial, you got large areas under probably one organization where you've got a couple of people who are your contact points. How does that make management of services easier or more difficult?
Like I said, the requirements, the expectations that come from residential are straight from the heart, because you could be taking a walk down in one of the in your walking track, and you could see some kind of what should I say, some dirt or something messed up over there. Probably in your landscape area, the right flowers are not blooming on a particular day. So while all that is I wouldn't like to use the word random, but to some level, yes, because we have our ticketing tools and we get a variety of requests or complaints, whatever you call it. At the same time, again, like I said, in commercial, expectations are documented, SLAs are documented. We know what we have to do. Of course, it's always evolving because it's changing, the person on the other side. I'll give you an example again of when you talk of office space, we do a lot of co-working spaces.
Right.
We are fortunate to, be the service provider for WeWork across India. Now, and that's a new business which is evolving and once again bouncing back because, of course, every business in space management did have a bit of a setback in the pandemic. And I can see the traffic and the people coming back to these co-working spaces. A lot of them are coming back in large numbers now. So now imagine a co-working space where you have youngsters from the age of 17, 18 having hot desks, right to, one individual to maybe an enterprise of 5 or 10 people, and then goes into larger enterprises of more than 200 or 300 people in one place. Now these, because they come from different segments, different professions, and at the same time, different age groups, again, their requirements are extremely dynamic.
Mm.
So I would say, what the youngsters today are expecting are absolute low turnaround time in efficiencies and services.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we as providers keep learning as the genres are changing and how expectations and how we should deliver.
Mm.
And there again, I'd like to say that technology really helps us to improve efficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely does. Because, even the cleaning services that we provide, let's say it's in a meeting room or in a boardroom or on a regular desk,
Mm-hmm.
all that is done, all managed over the app.
Okay.
Yeah. So from that perspective, the checks and balances do not need another person to go ahead physically and identify whether the right work is done or not. It's all coming through to you from the cloud. So all these things help us to reduce the turnaround time, reduce the manpower, and at the same time provide clean spaces and better user experience.
This is fascinating. I mean, I had no idea that you could have an app for meeting all the service needs of an apartment complex.
So, I mean, when we have time, and I'm sure next time I'm in Gurgaon, maybe not tomorrow, but I am going to catch up with you. I look forward to that. So,
No, sir.
I'll give you a little bit of a drive about our technology too.
I look forward to that. So, Pradeep, one more question relating to real estate, and you did speak about this a few minutes ago. The profile of people whose needs you meet range from the very young to the very old. I'd love to get your perspective on how expectations differ from the very young to the very old.
That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I mean, if I could if I could talk about the youth,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got a great set of youngsters and young talent coming into the country, and whether they are homeowners or users of a home experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk a bit about co-living.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these, we also do a lot of work with Olive, our brand for co-living.
Mm-hmm.
And again, now you can imagine that the expectation in a co-living sector or in a co-living segment is again completely different from a homeowner experience or even a rental experience, because there your tenure is much longer.
Okay.
You understand? So whether you're a homeowner, you're there for perpetuity till you own the home.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're leasing out a property or again there at least for a period of 11 months or even more than that. Now, when you come to a co-living perspective, you just have either a young couple or an individual living, and that tenure could be anywhere from 15 days to 30 days to as low as that.
Right.
Now, here the emotion, the sentiment, and the attachment to the property is limited.
Correct.
Now, we got to keep educating, training, and making them understand that to treat that with value and respect. And we realize that while the attachment to the property is limited, but regular sessions of interaction and more of communication has helped us achieve a lot from that perspective, that the person occupying that premise for that little limited period of time values it, respects it, and uses it with care.
Fascinating. So, Pradeep, I'm going to move to the next segment of our conversation. Our viewers and listeners love to get to know my guest a little better. So I have time for 2 or 3 questions for you. Let me start with my first question. You said you joined the Embassy Group in 2013. What are some of, or what would you say are 3 key milestones or pivot points in your career or your life?
I mean, there have been a lot of them, I would say, but if I had to quickly answer because of the time limits and all, I think the 3 key milestones would be my first move into my career when I joined an institution called Ingersoll Rand. And I joined them as a fresh graduate engineer. And coincidentally, I was very fortunate to be speaking. I've been associated with that organization for now the past 35 years from 1986, 14 years employed, and then the last 21 years as a channel partner and still counting.
Okay.
So I was fortunate. They invited me to speak on their 100-year celebration last week on Tuesday in Ahmedabad. So that's probably the first one. The second one is, again, I am absolutely grateful to Ingersoll Rand because they gave me the opportunity to become an entrepreneur when I wanted to venture out, which you call a startup today. And they gave me the opportunity to become a channel partner. So that's when I started my own baby, which is Horizon Group. And that's in 2000. So 1986 was the first, 2000 is the second. And obviously 2013, when I came into Embassy Group, because that's been a complete game changer for me, moving back from entrepreneurial business to the corporate world. And here I have immense gratitude for our chairman and my dear friend, Jitu Virvani, because he's the one who felt I had the potential and the capability to deliver what I am delivering today.
Terrific.
And probably that's one of the reasons that I get the opportunity to talk to you.
Fantastic. No, I'm delighted you're talking to me. So I have time for two more questions. My next question is, what are some of the core values you believe in?
One, absolute integrity. That is at the top of it, completely at the top of it. Whatever transaction, whatever decision, whatever way you conduct yourself, his integrity is immense and most important. I give absolute importance to that. After that, you should always have your basic ethics in place, transparency, good relationships, and all these kind of things. These are core values which you grow up with, which you learn at home from your parents, and then you probably learn a lot at the right education institutions that you go to in school and college. And that's what you gradually learn from your friends and colleagues, and then you practice them on a day-to-day basis.
Very well said. And my last question to you, Pradeep, after an amazing corporate journey, becoming an entrepreneur, now handling both a professional role and an entrepreneurial role, what would your advice be to a young individual who's starting off on her or his journey in the corporate world?
So I'll tell you, I'm very passionate about the youth in our country. And I can tell you the kind of youngsters that are coming into the corporate world or moving into entrepreneurial responsibilities are absolutely amazing. In fact, to be honest with you, I have started this role of mentoring youngsters since the last 4 years or 5 years. And I have successfully done it with 3 or 4 of them, and I can see them in mid-level or senior level roles, and I can see them as future leaders. So for me, it's so gratifying that what your a seed that you sow is going to be a blooming tree at some point of time. I would say youngsters should definitely dare to dream. If they are in our country and they are today, they have a platform of growth. India is actually in the eye of the entire world today, and everybody's looking at India as being something very a global power at some point of time in the future. So I guess dare to dream, don't stop. At the same time, continue to be inquisitive, curious, and definitely don't fear to ask the questions and learn on every day. And I'll tell you, at my age also, I mean, I keep learning on a daily basis. And today, most of my teachers are the youngsters who I work with.
Very well said. Pradeep, on that note of dare to dream, I want to say thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you for taking me and all our viewers and listeners through the incredible journey you have had, about sharing how you are bringing in technology to manage so much real estate, not just in one place, but now probably across the whole country, and who knows, across the whole world some stage. Thank you for again being so honest and forthright about a lot of things that you're doing. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Most enjoyable early morning experience. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you in Gurgaon when I'm there next.
Look forward.
And you're always invited to anywhere, whenever you're in Bangalore, Mumbai, wherever. We should catch up definitely.
I look forward to that.
Thank you. Thanks for the enjoyable experience.
Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.